Hello, beautiful manifestors. It is Olivia Grace, and I'm back with another video for you guys. And in today's video, we're talking about not giving power to old stories, and really to any story, and just knowing yourself as the chooser. This is really helpful in being able to shift your state and being able to instantly shift your reality. So yeah. Hey Mocha Drop. Hey Miss Amy. Hey Ty. But yeah. Hi Nika. Hi Belinda. Shouty doo wop. Hi Brown Bunny. Hi Kyra. Hi Lauren. Thank you. Hey everyone. Happy Saturday. Hey Giselle. I love that name. Sarita, the Femken. All right, y'all. So, Haley. Yes, before I get started, this is the Master Manifestor channel. Here I talk about manifestation and all that good stuff. Law of Assumption. So if you're interested, you should subscribe, like the video, comment, share it with someone you think it will help. My intention with this video and all my videos and my channel and my coaching is to assist you in recognizing your God self through the realization of your greatest desires. So if you're into any of that, you should be a part of this channel. So we're going to talk briefly, you guys, about not giving attention to stories. Oh, before I do have coaching available, you guys. Coaching is starting in a couple of weeks. I'm so excited. My intention is to create multiple millionaires, okay? I'm super excited. One of the day that I set that intention, I was like, I want to create millionaires. Like, that just sounds like fun. And one of my old clients and friend like texted me and was like, yeah, I just got approved for $1 million loan for her house. She actually showed us the house that she's getting. But yeah, anyhow, I'm just really excited about the energy and the potential and the magic and the expansion that's going to take place, that's already taking place. I'm just really excited. So, but email me for that info, you guys. There's a little bit more of a breakdown in the description if you're interested in working with me. But send an email to mastermanifestors333@gmail.com. Miss Amy, I'm so glad my videos have been helpful. Divine Pink Goddess. Oh, that's like the best thing ever. It's like everything I love in one name. Dude. High Ascending Infinite Goddess. Okay. All right. So let's get started, guys. And I got my Neville book. I want to do some pulls with you guys. I did some on TikTok the other day. And it was so powerful. I was like, I need to be doing more of these again. But let's talk about this really quick. So, okay, here's the thing, y'all. Like, just because you have a thought, right, doesn't mean that you have to identify yourself and attach yourself to that thought. Even with an experience, right? Just because of what you're experiencing doesn't mean that you have to then decide from that this is who I am, right? I was on a live this morning on TikTok, and I popped in right as the host was saying, be open to, like, stop looking at your bank account to determine how much money you have, right? Like, be open to money coming to you from multiple sources. And it made me think about how, like, basically we would use something like, let's say our bank account number and say, this means that I am broke, right? But you are making that decision based off of that observation, right? When you're knowing that you are an infinite being, number one, infinitely powerful being, number one. Number two, this reality is only what you're creating it to be, right? Your imagination creates. So your abundance is a thought away, a state away, right? A mood away, like a decision away. And so you can, in the moment, say, based off of this thing, which is what, when people are struggling with the 3D, that's basically what's going on, is because of this thing, I can't have what I want, or what I want can't happen, right? But my decision always is that I'm having what I want, period. Like, this is the thing. It's so funny. It's 323 and it's 323 on here. This is the thing, you guys. Always decide that you're having what you want. Always decide that you're having what you want. Always decide that it's going your way, right? You always have the ability to decide. So let's take this to thoughts, because that's where this video really kind of downloaded. Hi, JRE. So when we're having a thought, right? Let's say you're having a thought in opposition. I'm going to make another post about, I'm going to write a post about resistance and stuff like that in a minute. But let's say you're having a thought that's like in opposition to what you're manifesting. And so you take that thought and you decide like, ooh, I'm having that thought. So obviously what I'm doing is not working, right? Obviously I'm still the old version because I'm having this thought, right? But that doesn't necessarily have to mean that, right? You could just be having that thought. You could just be having that thought. You could decide. There's a lot of things that you can decide, actually, right? Like, you can decide that that's coming from the old self. That's coming from the old story. That thought is no longer in line with who I'm deciding I am now, right? Who I'm deciding that I am now. Just because that thought came up to me doesn't mean that I have to come in agreement with it, right? So I look at like thoughts, circumstances, things that are going on, like a hand being extended to you, right? You see something in your 3D you don't like. It's like, hey, isn't this who you are? Aren't you the type of person that doesn't get what you want, that people treat wrong, that people don't, that struggles with money, that struggles with love? Isn't that you? And it's showing itself as an appearance, right? But this is why we walk by faith, right? Faith is being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you do not see, right? So even though what's in your face looks like it's in opposition to what you want, it's your discipline and your knowledge of who you are, knowing that you're always the chooser, right? You're always the chooser. So you don't have to come into agreement with that. You don't have to take the hand just because it's in your face. You don't have to agree with what's going on in front of you just because it's going on, right? So this talks about mental rejection, right? Which is like, I do this so much, y'all, I don't even realize that I'm doing it. Thank you, Brinley. Hey, Jelly. But mental rejection is basically, okay, like, think about y'all, like some of you guys on here have dated a toxic guy, right? Or even maybe he wasn't toxic, but you've been with somebody to where whatever he says is a lie. You don't believe anything he says, right? Sometimes he's toxic. Sometimes you're the toxic one, right? You just can't believe anybody. You can't trust anyone. But no matter what he says, right? It's like, no, I don't believe that. No, that's not true. No. Even sometimes when it's positive, right? When your man like loves on you, right? He's like, you are so gorgeous. You look amazing. You could look in the mirror and see that you look good, but you would still reject that. No, I don't, right? It's easy for us to do it when things like, when it comes to us accepting something negative, right? But basically, you take that same denial energy to any and everything that is not in line with what you want, okay? Any and everything that is not in line with what you want. So whatever you're seeing, whatever, even what you're thinking, right? No, I'm not. I'm not that version. I'm not in that reality anymore. I feel like it's very helpful to be able to detach from the current 3D. And something I haven't heard in a while that I heard the other day was someone saying that the 3D is dead, right? The 3D is old. And we can get into, you know, technicalities and all that kind of stuff and science and the speed of light and how we're interpreting things literally, scientifically. What we're seeing has already happened, literally, because of the speed of light and the rate that we're like, the way that light is meeting our eyeballs. I'm not a scientist, y'all, okay? But we're literally scientifically experiencing the past. So you don't have to continue. Like, you might be like thinking like, why, like, where is my thing? Why isn't it happening? I don't see it. This thing I see in front of me is not what I want. But you don't have to give any attention to that though, right? Like, you can just decide, no, it is. No, I'm in that reality now. How wonderful is it? And this is the thing too, y'all. This is something to really understand that's going to help you. Is because the state is fully furnished, okay? Let me say what I mean by that. Right? So Neville, or it's the Bible that says, you know, in my Father's house are many mansions, right? And the many mansions in Neville speak represent states of consciousness, okay? Now, the states of consciousness, or the many mansions, the way that I like to see it is rooms, right? So the room of prosperity comes furnished, right? So let's talk about like being in a room of struggle. Let's talk about just manifesting in general, right? Being in a room of struggling to manifest something and being in the room of having the thing, the state of the wish fulfilled. In the state of struggle, in the state of trying, there's always a problem to fix. There's always some reason why it can't happen. There's always some doubt that's overtaking you. Your thoughts don't align with what you're trying to do. Your 3D doesn't align with what you're trying to do because you're in a state of lack, right? So no matter what you do within the state, you continue to experience lack. And so this is why when you find yourself in that state, you're trying to get to the other state and you're like, ooh, I have to solve these problems first, right? I have what's a requirement? There's something I have to do before I'm allowed to move from this state to the next state. I have to get rid of my limiting beliefs, right? I have to do, you know, whatever type of work on myself, right? I have to come to some other epiphany before I can move to that state, right? But you actually just can claim and become conscious of being in that state, and that moves you to the place where there is no problem, right? So I'm gonna explain this to you guys in a way that I know y'all have experienced. A lot of times you'll find yourself having like an epiphany, right? Or you'll do some type of manifestation challenge, or you'll come across some new idea and you're kind of riding high on that for a while. And then it's like, all of a sudden you're like, it's almost like you forget everything, right? Like you can't remember, you're like, you feel trapped in your circumstance again. You're like, wait, just the other day I was feeling so free and amazing, and now I'm back here. And it's like the things that clicked for you at one point are not clicking for you anymore, right? Because the state that you're in doesn't have that knowledge, right? The state that you're in doesn't have that clarity. That clarity, that knowledge, that peace is contained within a state. The state of lack, doubt, fear has only problems for you to solve, right? So once again, this is why I say, like, when you're judging by appearances, right? When you're judging by appearances, when you're looking at the state, you're looking at the room that you're in, right? The reality that you're in, the day that you're in, the moment that you're in, you're saying, oh, look at my mind. My mind's fucked up. Look at my 3D. My 3D's fucked up. I obviously cannot move to a blissful state. I obviously cannot have what I want because of where I am. But where you are, this is the point. Shivani always comments on my videos and she says, she'll highlight a timestamp. She said, the point. This is the point, is that this being in this room has nothing to do with being in this room. Just because you're over here where it doesn't make sense, where it's not this, where it's not that, when you sit there and try to figure that out, all you're doing is maintaining yourself in that room. You're looking around, you're like, ooh, how can I make this room into that room? I can rearrange the furniture. I can do this. I can put this poster over there, but you're still in that room. But being in that room has nothing to do with going to that room. You exit that room and come into the other room. Now, how do you do that, right? You exit that state. You exit that proclamation, that identity of this is who I am and this is what life is for me. And you go into the other room. And it starts with mental rejection, right? Because as long as you're conscious of being here, and this is what I talk about in so many videos, and I'm going to keep saying it, you guys, because hearing things over and over and over is what allows it to seep into your brain. And it's not even seep into your brain. It's really coming up to the consciousness to be able to understand it, right? But there's nothing keeping you here. Just because you are where you are doesn't mean that over there is not there. And it doesn't mean that you can't get over there. But as long as you're looking within the state for something to change, you're looking at 3D to change so that you can go into that other room. That's why you stay there. When you're judging by appearances, you're basically enslaved to those appearances. So you becoming consciously aware, you're mentally rejecting, no, this is not what I'm choosing anymore, right? Instead of responding with fear or like, oh my God, what's going on? Oh no, I'm here. Just realize like, oh, like, no, I'm not choosing this anymore. That's not true for me anymore. That's the old self. That's the old identity. That's what I used to tell myself. I remember when I used to think stuff like that. And just keep choosing the new state. Choose the new state with your imagination. What if it were true with no condition? Because we tend to even bring conditions into our imagining, right? Oh, well, I can't really get what I want by tomorrow, or I can't really get what I want until this time. So I'll just see myself getting a quarter of what I want, and then I'll try and solve, instead of imagining my end and my fulfillment, I'm going to imagine myself problem solving and solving this problem and that problem. And what about this and that? And you're still spinning around in the place of not having it, right? But go right to, what if I had it? What if it was true, right? Something that Edward Art Supply says in his I Am the Creator meditation. Highly suggest that. But he says, being in your mind, he's like, you're safe in your mind, right? We don't feel safe in the 3D to claim that we are our best selves because we're afraid of who can basically like invalidate that. I couldn't think of the word. Someone can invalidate that. We're afraid to proclaim and want and desire and boldly assume our greatest desires because we're like, oh, my experience can invalidate that, so it's not true. I'm afraid of claiming myself to be something and then missing the mark and being embarrassed or being even worse off than I was, right? But in your mind, you guys, in your imagination, it's just you. There's nobody there watching you. There's nobody there to make fun of you if it doesn't happen, right? You have all the permission to experience your greatest desires in your mind, in your imagination, and that's the only place that you really actually need to experience it for it to push out here. And so instead of, well, look at where I am, look at the room that I'm in, I can't get over there, you become consciously aware, I am over there. And you keep suggesting, I am over there, I do have it now, it is done, it did happen. And the more that you keep suggesting that to yourself, you guys, the more that it crystallizes around you. But first of all, crystallizes within you into a state, into you having the thoughts, you guys, the thoughts, the actions, right? Let's take like working out or something, right? Yes, I love subliminal Shay. But let's take working out, right? Let's take someone who's like, I want to work out, but their identity is I'm lazy, right? I'm a lazy person. So in the lazy state of being, they're like, I'm going to force myself. I'm going to set alarms for myself. I'm going to, set punishments for myself. I'm going to, do all of these things to force myself to be in that other state. But their identity is I'm lazy. So it's just a matter of time before they confirm that to themselves, right? And that lazy person might be trying, let's say, like I said, like setting the alarms to get them to be consistent, to get them to get up early, to get them to have the habit of someone who works out, but they're already in the state and the identity of someone who's lazy, someone who doesn't. So there's someone who's lazy and who doesn't, that is trying to force themselves to be something, right? But instead, you go right to the end of, I love working out. I love working out. And guess what? In that state is fully furnished with the thoughts, right? With the internal clock that's going to wake you up on time, with the motivation, right? with whatever it is that you need to do that. So what I'm saying is, you guys, is that you don't need anything from the reality right now. You don't even have to resist it. You just decide again, no, I'm like this now. I'm like this now. It's easy for me, right? That's something that you can tell yourself to soothe yourself. It's easy for me. This is easy for me. This is easy for me. It's already done for me. Okay? So I'm intending that makes sense, you guys. You guys can pick a number 1 through 400, 500. Yeah, 1 through 531. 373. Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm going to read a couple paragraphs. Because there is nothing unclean of itself or clean of itself, you should assume the best and think only of that which is lovely and of good report. It is not superior insight, but ignorance of this law of assumption. If you read into the greatness of men some littleness, which you may be familiar, or into some situation or circumstance, an unfavorable conviction, your particular relationship to another influences your assumption with respect to that other, and it makes you see in him that which you do see. If you can change your opinion of another, then what you now believe of him cannot be absolutely true, but it is only relatively true. The following is an actual case history illustrating how the law of assumption works. He goes into like a success story, but I want to read other people's, but I want to talk just briefly about what he's saying right here. Okay, so when that verse, they have it up here too. What seems to be is to those to whom it seems to be. He was only repeating the eternal truth. There is nothing unclean of itself, but to him that esteemeth anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean. Okay, that's Romans 14:14. And what they're saying in that verse and what Neville is saying here is that nothing is anything, basically. Nothing is fundamentally that, right? Everything is what you decide that it is. So when he's talking about your relationship with another, right? You might have someone in your life and you think this is a bad person, right? But your idea of them is what frames them as that and has them show up as that. If you were to change your idea about them, they would change, right? They would change. All things, right? Every single thing. This, like, even deeper, you guys. This is why I always say that everything is whatever. Give the meaning to everything that is working out for you. Okay? It doesn't matter, right? When people ask me, am I doing it right? Always assume you're doing it right. Because there's no right. There's no right. There's no wrong. It's just, what are you claiming it to be? And that's what it becomes. What seems to be to those to whom it seems to be, right? What seems to be is to those whom it seems to be. Okay. Ooh, y'all got a lot. Okay. 111. Pick another one. 111 is blank. 292. Okay. The images of our imagination are the realities of which any physical manifestation is only the shadow. If we are faithful to vision, the image will create for itself the only physical manifestation of itself it has a right to make. We speak of the reality of a thing when we mean its material substance. That is exactly what an imaginist means by its unreality or shadow. Imagining is spiritual sensation. Enter into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Through spiritual sensation, through the use of your imaginal sight, sound, scent, taste, and touch, you will give to your image the sensory vividness necessary to produce that image in your outer or shadow world. Dope. All right, so he's basically talking about sats right there, you guys. That's pretty self-explanatory. 255. Let me see if Miss Amy put another one. Okay. 255. You got to pick another one. That's the law and the promise. It's just that state. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to the next page. Oh, imagining creates reality. Seems like there's a theme here. The world in which we live is a world of imagination. In fact, life itself is an activity of imagining. For Blake wrote, Professor Morrison of the University of St. Andrews, the world originates in a divine activity identical with what we know ourselves as the activity of imagination. His task being to open the immortal eyes of man inward to the worlds of thought, into eternity, ever expanding into the bosom of God and the human imagination. Nothing appears or continues in being by a power of its own. Events happen completely comparatively stable. Imaginal acts created them, and they continue in being only as long as they receive such support. This actually kind of goes into what we're talking about today about mental rejection, you guys, and realizing that the story, right? That's the title of the video. The story in itself doesn't have any power. The state in itself doesn't have any power, you guys. This is why your 3D has no power, because your 3D is just reflecting your state, and your state is governed by you, right? So you don't have to look at the 3D and say, oh, this is all that I can have. I'm not going to keep going into that because I just had a whole video on that. But, all right, 151. You guys keep picking the contents pages. That's funny. I'm going to read the next page. Thinking fourth dimensionally. Many persons, myself included, have observed events before they occurred. That is, before they occurred in the world of 3 dimensions. Since man can observe an event before it occurs in the 3 dimensions of space, life on Earth must proceed according to plan, and this plan must exist elsewhere in another dimension and be slowly moving through our space. If the occurring events were not in this world when they were observed, then, to be perfectly logical, they must have been out of this world. And whatever is there to be seen before it occurs here must be predetermined from the point of view of man awake in the 3-dimensional world. Thus the question arises, are we able to alter our future? All changes take place in consciousness. The future, although prepared in every detail in advance, has several outcomes. At every moment of our lives, we have before us the choice of which of several futures we will choose. I talk a lot about choices, you guys, because that's really all that it is. And up until now, we make our choices unconsciously, automatically, right? Okay. Pick another page, shawty doo wop. Let's see, 333. Okay. Movement from dreams to things is the power driving humanity. We must live wholly on the level of imagination, and it must be consciously and deliberately undertaken. This one is kind of like broken up into stories for 333. Let me see, 444. Okay. Oh, I love this one. We are told we were first in our own sight, helpless grasshoppers, and because of this conception of ourselves, we were to the enemy helpless grasshoppers. We can be to others only that which we are to ourselves. Therefore, as we revalue ourselves and begin to feel ourselves to be the giant, a center of power, we automatically change our relationship to the giants, reducing these former monsters to their true place, making them appear to be the helpless grasshopper. Man has so long worshipped the images of his own making that at first he finds this revelation blasphemous. But the day man discovers and accepts this principle as the basis of his life, that day man slays his belief in a God apart from himself. Ooh. I want to talk about that for just a second, you guys, because this is really huge, okay? What it's saying is whatever your circumstance is that you are thinking right now, this is bigger than me. This is, I can't control it. It's not working, right? Is because you have made yourself small. You decided that this is bigger than you, and so it appears to be bigger than you, right? But when you realize that you're the center of it all, you guys, this, I feel like, has been the revelation, like a deepening of a revelation that I've been having lately. You're the center of it all, you guys, right? So even you saying, this is bigger than me, you decided that. You're making that true. I can't do that. You're making that true, y'all. Okay? And just the same way that you could say that, you could say something else. Y'all, this works so good. Like for the winter. It's so weird. I saw this. I got this at the dollar store last night. And it works so good. And I was like, oh, I'm going to tell my boyfriend to get some. And I came home and he had one already. The same exact one. I was like, what the heck? All right. 433. You got to pick another one. 433. 222. Okay. Ooh. In the beginning was the intention, the meaning, and the intention was with the intender, and the intention was the intender. Let me stop right there, okay? In the beginning was the intention, the meaning, and the intention was with the intender, and the intention was the intender, okay? So in the beginning was the intention. This is God creating, right? The desire for something out of nothing, or everything out of nothing. And the intention was with the intender. The intention for something was with the intender, God, everything. And the intention was the intender. And so the everything that was created is God, if that makes sense. The objects and events in time and space occupy a lower level of significance than the level of meaning which produced them. All things were made by meaning, and without meaning was not anything made that was made. The fact that everything seen can be regarded as the effect on a lower level of significance of an unseen higher order of significance is a very important one to grasp. Our usual mode of procedure is to attempt to explain on the higher levels of significance why things happen, in terms of the lower, what and how things happen. He goes into his story here. I'm not going to read all of it because I'm not going to read it at all because it's too long. But I'm going to explain it in briefly because it's so good. Basically, he talks about a car crash, right? And how, he says most of us live on the level of what happened, right? What happened? An accident. Two cars collided, right? Some of us live on the level of how the accident happened. It was rainy, the roads were slippery, and they slipped into each other. But on rare occasions do we reach the highest or causal level of why it happened, right? Why did it happen? What happened? An accident. How did it happen? They slipped. But why did that happen anyway? Why was it this lady that was going at this? Why was she the one, right? Why did they meet at that time? Why was it those two people at that time and space? And that's the causal level, right? Which is the imagining. And so the lady that was in the accident was a widow. And she had a desire to move, but she didn't have any money to move. And so Neville said that her combination of consciousness between great loss, being a widow, and her great desire for prosperity brought to her the combination of that in the form of an accident where she still lost something, right? Her car. but she gained something as well, enough money to move across the country. So this is when it's funny, when I was telling Neville's story about Barbados, right? Neville's story, when Neville went to Barbados, his brother sent him a ticket, right? His brother sent him a first class ticket to go. And I remember telling that story in one of my videos, and somebody commented and was like, well, he had a brother. Like, some people don't have brothers. And it's like, tell me the story went over your head without telling me the story went over your head. But that's the Muggle thinking, right? The world of Caesar. Well, here's the reason why that happened. It would have happened anyway. Well, you see, these people, they're the reason why these things happen. No, it was Neville's assumption and decision that he is in Barbados that gave his brother the idea, the desire to get the whole family together for Christmas and send him the money, right? So it's always being caused on the level of consciousness, you guys. Your shift in consciousness causes the shift in the 3D, okay? Okay. $501. Oh, shit. Okay. Says, the faith of the undisciplined man cannot really be called faith. For if armies, medicine, or wisdom of man in which his faith is placed be taken from him, his faith and courage go with it. Damn. But from the disciplined one, the whole world could be taken, and yet he would remain faithful in the knowledge that the state of consciousness in which he abides must in due season embody itself. The courage is Peter's brother, Andrew, the disciple who knows what it is to dare, to do, and to be silent. The next two, third and fourth, who are called, are also related. These are the brothers, James and John. James the just, the righteous judge, and his brother John, the beloved justice to be wise, must be administered with love, ever turning the other cheek, and at all times returning good for evil, love for hate, and nonviolence for violence. The disciple James, a symbol of the disciplined judgment, must, when raised to the high office of a supreme judge, be blindfolded, that he may not be influenced by the flesh, nor judge after appearances of being. Disciplined judgment is administered by the one who is not influenced by appearances. The one who has called these brothers to discipleship continues faithful to his command, to hear only that which he has been commanded to hear, namely the good. The man who has this quality of his mind, disciplined, is incapable of hearing and accepting as true anything, either of himself or another, which does not on the hearing fill his heart with love. I would keep going, but we'll be going for a while with that. He's talking about the symbolic representation of the 12 disciples. But that's deep. That first one was like, sheesh. I want to read it again, you guys, because that was really good. The faith of the undisciplined man cannot really be called faith. For if the armies, medicines, or wisdom of man in which his faith is placed be taken from him, his faith and courage go with it. But from the disciplined one, the whole world could be taken, and yet he would remain faithful in the knowledge that the state of consciousness in which he abides must in due season embody itself. That shit's deep. Y'all, I don't feel like that needs an explanation. But, you know, believe in yourself. 5, 6, 5, 6. Believe in yourself. I be watching too much TikTok, y'all. Okay. All right. All right, 365. But for you who accept this principle and are ready to live by consciously assuming that your wish is already fulfilled, the adventure of life begins. To reach a higher level of being, you must assume a higher concept of yourself. If you will not imagine yourself as other than what you are, then you remain as you are. For if you believe not that I am he, you shall die in your sins. If you do not believe that you are he, the person you want to be, then you remain as you are. Through the faithful, systematic cultivation of the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the desire becomes the promise of its own fulfillment. Damn. The assumption of the feeling of the wish fulfilled makes the future dream a present fact. Y'all. Damn. We need to, you see why I came on here? Because I read like just a couple paragraphs on TikTok and I was like, damn, I need to be reading this shit. But let me read that again, y'all. Like, if you do not believe that you are he, the person that you want to be, then you remain as you are. Through the faithful, systematic cultivation of the feeling of the wish fulfilled, desire becomes the promise of its own fulfillment. Okay? Desire becomes the promise of its own fulfillment. So this is when you have the desire, that's implying it's already done. It's implying its existence. Okay? The assumption of the feeling of the wish fulfilled makes the future dream a present fact. So when you assume that this thing is yours now, it makes the future thing a fact. Now, you're taking on that assumption. You're becoming consciously aware of being and having what you want, okay? Kyra, thank you. That's so sweet. I'm going to read these 2 ones, and then I'm going to read your comments, and then I'm going to go, you guys. I want to go to the park. Oh. Okay, I'm going to read 2 more. Nina, 4 is, it's a content page, table of contents. So I'm going to read 33, and I'll read whichever one is under that. And read a few comments. Okay. All right. Ooh. Okay. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. There is only one thing in the world, imagination, and all our deformations of it. Imagination is the very gateway of reality. Man, said Blake, is either the ark of God or a phantom of the earth and the water. Naturally, he is only a natural organ subject to sense. The eternal body of man is the imagination, and that is God himself, the divine body. I know of no greater and truer definition of the imagination than that of Blake. By imagination, we have the power to be anything we desire to be. Through imagination, we disarm and transform the violence of the world, our most intimate as well. Our most casual relationships become imaginative as we awaken to the mystery hid from the ages, that Christ is in us. That Christ in us is our imagination. We then realize that only as we live by imagination can we truly be said to live at all. Okay. That one was pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, that was pretty self-explanatory. I'm gonna read one more, you guys, and then I'm gonna look at your comments. Damn, Neville is right. Ooh, 432. That is the frequency of the universe. And then I'm gonna do 105 too, just because I love your name. Okay, let's see. 432. Oh, is another notes page. Y'all, this is actually, y'all, look at how big this book is. We just had like 8 pages that were notes pages. And I promise you, they're not full of notes pages. It's like, it is an actual book. That is so strange. But do y'all notice how like when one thing happens, it like keeps happening? Like when your attention is on one thing, it keeps happening? Okay, 105. All right. While you are awake, you are a gardener selecting seed for your garden. But except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. Your conception of yourself as you fall asleep in the seed, you drop into the ground of the subconscious. Dropping off to sleep, feeling satisfied and happy, compels conditions and events to appear in your world, which confirm these attitudes of mind. Sleep is the doorway into heaven. When you take in as a feeling, you bring out a condition, action, or object in space. So sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. As in consciousness, so on earth. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So y'all should know, like, Neville, that's why he suggests SATs, because he feels like sleep is your gateway. And I will say, you guys, when I do SAT scenes consistently, like, that'd be my problem, y'all, being consistent and focusing. But when I do SAT scenes consistently, I definitely feel like I shift very fast. Okay. Let me read through your comments really quick. Okay. If I've been trying for a long time with no results, how can I actually convince myself, decide that this time will be any different? I don't know what to change in order to believe again, because you're making your decision based off the past. This is what I was talking about. Our Ariana, you should go back and watch the beginning of the video, because we're talking about that. Thank you, Jacarius. Hi. I actually love my natural eye color too. I do. I think I look better with my eyes like this. I was saying hi to my man. That's why my hi was so cute. All right. Neville is a beast, y'all. I'm telling you. I love you guys so much. You guys are the best. Yes, you guys, this is Neville's complete reader, y'all. It's in the description. I have a Amazon link with books that I suggest for you guys. Okay. All right. I love you all so much. I woke up and decided I had money to move. Instead of it being $3,000, it turned into $1,500. And I already had that and got a free Christmas tree and directions too. Okay, Ty. Ty is always coming through with the success stories. Love that. Congratulations, Ty. That's amazing. Of course she does. Ty was commenting on the live or one of my videos the other day, and she was like, yeah, I know I have my $3,000. Oh, because I said it. I said it in the live. I was like, maybe you're manifesting $3,000. And Ty was like, she was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I'm manifesting. And here it is. Now she has it. See, y'all, we don't be bullshitting. I'm telling you the truth. Literally. Just thought of this after yesterday's video. What if we look at wavering moments, like we're stepping on the brake for a sec because we think there's an obstacle, but then just keep driving and persisting. I love that, Sophia. And I'm actually, thank you, just reminded me about my post I'm going to write for y'all. Let's see. This is the perfect video for me. I became a single mom earlier this year, and it's been a journey to remember who I am and not get stuck in victim mode. Yeah, Miss Amy. Sometimes, you guys, I don't believe that things, well, I'm not even gonna say that because I don't know how I feel about that. But when you find yourself, like I was talking about this on the TikTok live the other day, but when you find yourself losing things around you, or losing things that have previously supported you in 3D, whether that's a man or a job or, you know, whatever. In my opinion, it is giving you the opportunity to rely on God, to rely on your imagination, right? To rely on your own power, because sometimes that's the only way that we will. You know what I mean? Like, Neville said it in that one where I was like, damn, because he's saying, you know, basically people put their faith in all of these things, right? Their faith is in, you know, this or that, you know, whether it's religion, or it's this person, or it's even, you know, whatever. And he's like, if the whole world was to go, their faith would go right along with it, right? And so it's in that moment when you don't have anything else to rely on that you turn to the thing that you always have to rely on. But as long as you have all these things around you appearing like the support, appearing like, yeah, I'm the thing that's supporting you. Everything that's supporting you is a catalyst for God to work through, right? Everything, like physically, or even not physically, your job, your, you know, whatever, is a catalyst for God to support you. But you don't really even need the catalyst. Like, God is supporting you. It's just, where is your awareness? And sometimes when we lose the things that we thought, right? This is the thing that I can depend on. It's the only time that we really put our eyes where they should always be. You feel me? And that will carry you through, right? I tell you guys, for me personally, I was in that position for years where I didn't have, or I wasn't aware of the support that I had in 3D. I felt very unsupported in 3D. So I had to rely on my imagination and my power. And what it did was make me a master manifester. I had to master manifestation, right? All right. I'm about to go, you guys. Let's see. What happened? What? What? All right, you guys. I'm gonna go. You're welcome. And I love you guys. I'm intending that this helps you. I'm 100,000% sure that it did. Okay? You guys are infinitely powerful, wonderful, beautiful, amazing, and perfect. So don't forget that. And even when you forget, remind yourself. That's all you got to do, you guys. In the moment, realize you cannot have something in the moment and have it in the next moment. It happens actually every time like that. You cannot have it and then have it. So keep deciding you do have it. Okay? I love you all so much, and I'll see you guys in videos soon.